Hey everyone, my name is Blake Sandus with RMS Roller Grinder. Today we're going to talk about how to properly set different gap adjustments and why that's important to the brewing and distilling process.
And I'm Andy, sales engineer with RMS Roller Grinder, and looking forward to talking to you today.
So, Andy, when we use the term setting gap or adjusting gap on the mill, what does that mean exactly?
So it means just what it sounds like. So we're adjusting the gap between the two rolls to a certain setting that's going to get us the maximum efficiency from our grain, get it cracked properly without damaging the grain too much. So we're setting the rolls to a gap, even gap all the way across to a certain setting.
Okay. And why is that important to a brewer or distiller? Why would they even care about that or have to make those adjustments?
So the big thing is if you're in distilling, you might be dealing with different grains. And so it might be different sizes, might be different products. Sometimes you need a different size product for a certain alcohol that you're making. For on the brew side, you're trying to maximize efficiency. And so you need to crack that grain without crushing it down into powder or flour, as a lot of times they call it. And so you're trying to crack that to get the most starch removal and also keep the hulls whole so that they will filter out and provide a quicker filter out process on your brew side.
Can you share with the viewers what happens if like a gap adjustment isn't set correctly or there's too big of an adjustment? What could be some of the things that they could be seeing?
So it might be a case where you're getting whole grains through. A very common question that we get on a regular basis. So the gap's too wide, the grain's going through. Basically, you're wasting that grain. And so that's just money going right on through. So the other case you might see is, hey, I'm getting a lot of flour. So that might mean your gap is set too tight. And so you might need to open that up to get the proper product out. Because again, what we're targeting is trying to get the most efficiency to get the most beer produced or alcohol produced per grain, pound of grain going in. And so that's why the adjustment is needed to try to get that maximum return on investment.
Thanks for sharing that. So I know a common question that I've been asked, and I know that I've heard you answer it as well, is like, what do you normally see when someone gets a new machine or kind of newer to the milling side, at least with an RMS? What's kind of a starting gap position? And then also, how much can they really adjust the different style machines?
Yeah, so that is like you said, a question we get all the time. And so we have a basic recommendation, and again, this is a starting point, and you're going to start with that and do some sieve tests to figure out, am I where I need to be based on my grain, because the grain is different from place to place and customer to customer. And so typically on a single pair roller mill, we're going to recommend something in the 55 to 60 thousandths gap setting. If you have a double pair where we can spread the work out just a little bit, we're probably going to go 65 thousandths on the top set and then 50 thousandths on the bottom set. And again, that's the starting point. You're going to make adjustments from there to try to optimize your grain product.
Why do they need to consider and be cognizant of changing the gap settings and stuff like that? What are they having to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, so there's several reasons that might cause this issue. So, A, it might just be the grain changes from year to year, from region to region. The barley comes out different, or whatever grain you're milling, the size can vary. And so from season to season, we've seen, a customer saying, hey, I can't get the efficiency I was getting last year. When they check into it, they can see, oh, the growing season was different. And so this grain is much smaller. So I got to run with a tighter setting. The other thing that you might run into is, for some reason something got into a bag, or your brewer's dumping a bag in there and his ring falls off, or his watch, whatever, could fall off, get into the mill, and there's possibility it could knock it out of alignment. And so having that ease of adjustment to get it lined back up, get it set up, you can get brewing again right away instead of having to go into a big effort to get everything taken care of.
Excellent. I would like to invite everyone. We're going to do a little bit of a demo after this video of how to set some different gap positions in a how-to video following this one. So stay tuned.
We'll see you then. We're going to be talking about the adjustment on the mills, and this will be on the smaller mills. 6x6 in the micro mill. So with every machine, you're going to get an adjustment tool, so a T-handle wrench on the small ones. And basically, that's going to allow you to adjust the gap of the rolls. So that's changing the gap in and out. And you're adjusting left and right side. So if we look at the dial, 0 to 25 on the small mills, each tick mark is 3/1000ths of an inch gap. So right here we're set on 20, so 20 times 3, 60/1000ths is the gap there. So if you want to come around here to the side, what's going on is we've got the adjustment bolt right here, and it's into the bearing block. And so as we turn the adjustment rod, that's moving the bearing block in and out, moving the shaft on this roll in and out. So the front roll is adjustable, the back roll is fixed. And so as we turn in and out, that's what's adjusting the gap in the roll itself. One other thing I like to point out is there's a couple of jam nuts right here. Sometimes you might see where the mill's adjusting as you're running. Sometimes those can work loose, and so you just need to loosen them up, run the front one in, and then run the second one in against it to keep it tight so that it doesn't open while you're running.